We are representing Gold Derby. I'm here with Anthony Ruiz, Rob Licuria, and Charlie Bright. I'm Riley Chow, and we're going to be discussing the Emmy races for drama writing and drama directing. So we're going to get drama writing out of the way quickly here. We've got one episode of Succession nominated against one episode of The Crown, 3 episodes of Ozark, and 2 from Better Call Saul. Now, Succession is considered a massive lock in this category. Rob, you are predicting it, as is everyone else. How much do you agree with the assessment that it is unstoppable?
Yeah, I think it is unstoppable, not only because it's the only one in the category, but, Jesse Armstrong won last year for writing the finale, and this is the season 1 finale. This is the season 2 finale. It's got the same gravitas, got the same impact. It's got everything that the season 1 finale had. It's the best example of his beautiful writing style and the way that the show comes together in its finales. And Ozark's got a problem here with 3 episodes. So does Better Call Saul with 2. Better Call Saul never wins Emmys anyway, unfortunately. It really should. It was the strongest season. So, and of course, the only one that we probably have to worry about is Aberfan from The Crown, which was its strongest episode as well, the one about the Welsh landslide tragedy. That was a beautiful episode. I think that's more of a directing thing than a writing thing, though. And so I just think this is pretty much one of the no-brainers of the night.
And Charlie, how do you feel about that?
I completely agree. I mean, especially after the writers showed that they really did like the show last year in this category, which I think caught a lot of us off guard. Well, I remember, Tony, it caught you and me off guard. We were watching it together. It was, I think, and there was a lot of good reception to this season 2 finale. It took some great twists and turns, as well as just having some great lines like Brian Cox saying he ate my chicken or something like that. Wasn't that one of Brian Cox's lines? And it was perfect. Yeah, and I have The Crown, the Aberfan episode at number 2. The rest I really think are just going to split each other.
Anything to add, Tony?
No, that's exactly the same thing that I would say, is that, I think the best thing that could have happened for Succession is that this was the episode to pick. Plus, this episode, really seemed to, hit a nerve. I mean, it's being submitted in a lot of categories. It's being submitted, I think, for 2 of the supporting actors, and it's got a directing nod. So this episode clearly hit. So the fact that it's the only one there and Succession's a front runner to win drama, whereas I don't think The Crown is a front runner to win drama, I think it has it in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I'm definitely predicting it as well. It is coming off the Emmy win from last year. It's coming off the WJ win and the BAFTA win. They awarded it last year at the Emmys when they didn't necessarily respond to the show that much overall. But I will qualify that, if we're wrong about Succession winning and it's actually Ozark winning, because they do have the same number of nominations, I could see Ozark sweeping this up as writing awards sometimes are. I think of the year that the Mad Men finale, Mad Men, was a show that won this award 3 times, and then it lost to Game of Thrones, even though it was competing with its series finale, which was a much more writerly showcase than the episode that Game of Thrones beat it with. I think we've also seen, like with The People versus O.J. Simpson, for example, where they have 3 episodes nominated for writing. It is possible for the writers to find an episode from a show that they love and single it out over the other nominees that are nominated from the same show. So I've got Fire Pink in second. That episode is also nominated for directing. It's the episode that, would have been Tom Pelphrey's submission.
Yeah, I think Fire Pink is probably the most likely of the Ozarks as well. I've got that in 4th because I was so impressed by Bagman from Better Call Saul, and I think that would have been in 3rd. Although those 2 Better Call Saul episodes are, like in any other year, would have been frontrunners. They're both brilliantly written and directed. So, yeah.
I feel like Better Call Saul says that every year. Any other year, we'd have been a front runner to win something.
It's a real shame that it will probably walk away. Maybe, I don't know what happens next year. with nothing, because sometimes I think Better Call Saul is even better than Breaking Bad. Sorry, that's very controversial.
Please direct all of your angry letters and tweets to Rob Licuria.
And here's his cell phone number, 867-5309.
Sorry, I just think it's just so brilliant. Yeah, I'm sorry. When I saw and about The Crown, when I saw Aberfan, I was just like so blown away by that and moved by it. And I didn't even know about that tragedy in Wales. I didn't know it happened, which makes me feel really stupid because I am. But then I just remember when I saw the finale, season 2 finale of Succession, I was just flabbergasted. I've never seen like that. Finale really blew me away. But then I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, but there's a whole chunk of it on the boat where they're just sitting around, and it's good dialogue, but there's not a lot happening. But I always try to counter that argument with, yeah, but it's building up to this very, very satisfying ending. And
I always find those types of arguments ridiculous, because it's kind of like, oh, not a lot happens. It's like, you don't understand how writing works.
Yeah.
It's not just the dialogue on the page.
That's right. So anyway.
Wow. All right. So we'll hop on over to directing, where we've got 2 episodes of Succession nominated against 2 from Ozark, 2 from The Crown, the series finale of Homeland, and the season finale of The Morning Show. Now, leading our odds is the Aberfan episode that Rob was just talking about, directed by Ben Karen. But Tony, you're actually the only one in this group who's actually predicting the consensus frontrunner here. So why is Aberfan the frontrunner?
I think it's just too much of a directorial masterpiece to ignore. And we've seen The Crown surprise in directing before. I don't think Stephen Daldry was predicted to win the year that he won. And I go back to the fact that sometimes, and certainly more recently, I think, with the exception of Jason Bateman's surprise win last year for Ozark. But I think on the whole, the directing achievement, the directing winner really seems to be this kind of like big directorial achievement. I would even put the pilot of The Handmaid's Tale in that. I think that's one of the most beautifully directed episodes of television. So right now I'm going on kind of a gut instinct here that Aberfan is too much of a directorial achievement from a technical standpoint, from a dramatic standpoint, from a plot and story arc standpoint. It's just so beautifully executed that I'm just going to stick with that for now. I reserve the right to maybe. The thing is, I don't have a good alternative. I think there's too many good alternatives.
That's a good point.
Well, Rob, I admire what you're doing. You're just predicting Succession to win, drama series, writing, and directing. That's a big reason why I'm not predicting Aberfan. Tony, he says that it's this big directorial achievement. I don't feel like the directors really care about that. I feel like we saw that in comedy last year, where Ronnie Lilly was this big achievement from Barry. But the directors, they just want to vote for their favorite show, as does everybody at the Emmys. So Fleabag ended up winning that award along with all the other ones that it was expected to.
You could say the same about this category last year as well, with the Jason Bateman win for Ozark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am going all in for Succession. That I won't. That's not a lie. I could have gone for Hunting. That's the Ball on the Floor episode. Brilliant. I think This Is Not for Tears is just more of a showcase, especially the last 5 minutes are just mind-boggling. A lot of that is about the direction. Mark Mylod, who is, he's never really been rewarded before, and I think he deserves it. That it was such an achievement. A lot of that had to do with him working with Jeremy Strong. I know this because I had the pleasure of interviewing the both of them. It was, a brief moment of joy, all that stuff. But the thing is, I just think he did a really good job, and I think the directors will notice that. Aberfan, Tony's right. Very, very, very beautiful directorial achievement. However, I just think the dark horse here is Mimi Leder for the interview episode of The Morning Show. If that had received a drama series nomination, I may have been tempted to actually predict her to win. That was a very strong ending to the season. The morning show started off pretty so-so for me, and I actually dropped it from my watching schedule because I just thought I don't really like this show. But that's because I got to like episode 3 or 4 and I was just losing interest. But then it really kicks in. And by the last 3 or 4 episodes, I was completely enamored and hooked by the morning show. And I just think a lot of people in the industry probably feel the same way, because it actually is, it did quite well. It just didn't really do as well as it maybe could have. This episode, the finale, is very strong. And Mimi Leder she is someone to actually take notice of, as we all know. She's won before. And she's a really impressive director. So yeah, I just think this one's a really tough one, but I'm going all in for Succession.
I think that I do have Succession number 1 for directing, and I have Aberfan from The Crown at number 2. But I just in the last few minutes put just so I could frustrate Riley some more with switching my predictions at the last minute. I have put at number 3 the finale of Homeland, because we have seen some series finales just come out of nowhere and win specifically this category. The one that I always go back to is ER, the ER finale, when that won the directing award. What was that, 2009, I think it was?
Yeah.
When it won that out of nowhere. I think the show maybe only had one other nomination, and it still managed to win that for the series finale. And that's Leslie Link. How do you pronounce it?
Bladder.
Yeah, she's very, very well respected. I think that she's someone who, it would kind of be fitting if she were the one who could pull this. If she were the one who could pull this off. So I would just keep that in the back of your mind as well.
Yeah, the one that I have in my number 2 is actually the Fire Pink episode of Ozark. I think we were all pretty stunned by that Jason Bateman win last year, and this episode certainly was probably the highlight of the season. At least it was for me. And it's such a beautifully tense episode, and I think the direction has a lot to do with that. So I would not rule that out. Of the two Ozark episodes, I think I think that's an example of vote splitting where it wouldn't be as much of an issue, because I think that the Fire Pink episode is certainly has an even bigger presence than the other episode.
Yeah, that's a big reason why I've got Fire Pink predicted to win, because I don't think Ozark is going to suffer any vote splitting, whereas I think that The Crown and Succession will. I think largely off of diversity, as horrible as it is to say, but I feel like in recent years, when the director's branch has been given an out where they don't have to vote for a white man, especially for a female-led show, I feel like they take it. We've seen producing director Mike Barker of The Handmaid's Tale get snubbed repeatedly for all these female guest directors on the show, and we've also seen last year a female guest director on Killing Eve got nominated over the producing director of Killing Eve. So I could see Jess Hobbs taking votes away from Ben Karen, who has never been nominated for an Emmy before. He is the producing director of The Crown, but Jess Hobbs also has the season finale. In terms of Succession, Hunting was a huge episode with the Boar on the Floor sequence. So that's really stands out in memory. So I could see people voting for Andrei Perec on the basis of the episode. And I think we also shouldn't discount that, we've got Andrei Perec nominated against 7 white people. And this is a time when, there are all these calls for diversity and just to support diverse artists. Mark Mylod also failed to win the Directors Guild Award against double Watchmen, double Game of Thrones, even though Succession won the directing award from the DGA last year. So I feel like maybe there's some kind of a disconnect there that, otherwise he should have been able to win there. On the other hand, Ozark continually surprises us with its support from directors. Nobody saw its directing win at the Emmys coming last year. And before that, nobody saw it getting 2 directing nominations for its first season, as it was snubbed in the Best Drama Series race. So I feel like even if Succession takes Drama Series, there's a chance that it could lose directing since it seems to be a bit weak in the field. And there's a chance that Ozark could take directing since it always seems to be a bit stronger in directing than it is everywhere else. And then what Tony says about, Fire Pink being the clear choice from Ozark, it absolutely is. The other Ozark director wasn't even submitted by Netflix. He had to pay his own entry fee, so they're obviously not campaigning him as hard, and his episode is not the one that's being pushed across all categories.
Wow.
Yeah, the thing I think what we'll figure out, unlike the writing category, I think this one is so wide open. I think we all kind of have a sense that there are certain ones that are out front, but boy, this is one of those cases where really I do think there's strong cases for all of these to win. I think I just feel like it's going to depend on what people are drawn to. Are they drawn to the spectacle? We can have years between spectacle and non-spectacle, but maybe this is a spectacle year. Maybe it's not. So I think it's really anybody's game here.
Yeah, I've actually got Leslie Linka Glatter in third because she's been nominated so many times by the Emmy. She's an Oscar nominee. She's been awarded by the DGA for Mad Men, for Homeland. She was nominated for Twin Peaks back in the day over David Lynch. She does a lot of work behind the scenes for the Directors Guild and for women who are directors. So there's tremendous industry respect. I can scarcely think of somebody who is more respected actually in the field of television directing than she is. I was actually kind of ready to predict her before nominations. Then Homeland did not get a single other nomination. So that kind of just gives me pause about predicting it for the one award that it's up for.